Alright guys, so in this video I'm going to be talking to you about the three biggest reasons why you will fail your Amazon business, okay? So it's very important guys to understand this video because like I said, this is not just my opinion, this is actually based off of stats, off a website. The website you guys can take a look at it is called the Marketplace Pulse. They have a lot of data, a lot of different information that you guys can learn in regards to stats about Amazon sellers and so on and so forth, okay? Now when it comes down guys to the biggest reason, the number one biggest reason, hands down, is going to be doing the proper product research, okay? Now, with the product research, it actually gets broken down into two sections. So section number one is in regards to picking the wrong product, and then on the second option is actually not even picking a product at first, okay? So let's take a look at the first option, so picking the wrong product. Now, why would you actually end up picking the wrong product? What's actually making you pick the wrong product? There's a lot of different factors, and it comes in regards to, in my opinion, not being educated in regards to doing the proper product research, okay? So number one, when you're taking a look at these products using a research tool, what are you actually looking for? Okay, so a lot of you guys will just run the Jungle Scout extension. You're going to see the numbers, and you guys get excited that a handful of people are making money, and you know that hey, I can come in and dominate this marketplace. Okay, so that's a huge mistake, and let me explain to you why. So number one, you can't rely on a product research tool. Okay, so I have the video, guys. That I'm going to show you guys. It's in the course actually, but I also have it on my YouTube channel in regards to talking to you guys about how the product research tools are not accurate, and I actually ran it on my products to show you guys how each product research tool gives me different numbers. Okay, so that's number one. So if you're relying solely on a product research tool, well, you're going to be in for a huge surprise because you're not going to be getting the same sales as expected. Okay. Number two, when you take a look at it, there's a lot of things that you actually have to take a look at. So let's just go to Amazon right now, guys, and I'm going to go show you an example in regards to what you need to look at, which a lot of people miss out on, okay? So let's just go for fish oil. We run the Jungle Scout extension. Let's take a look at this, and let's take a look at the numbers in regards to how some people think and how you got to be very careful so that you don't make the exact same mistake, okay? So as this is running, there's a few things that we want to take a look at, okay? So number one, we obviously want to take a look at the price to make sure that the price makes sense so that we're going to have a healthy profit margins. Number two, we want to take a look at the sales, so how many people are doing in sales. So we can see that this product is very high in sales. They do over 7,000 is what Jungle Scout is telling me. So we'll just use this example. I know that they're not accurate. Like I said, they're probably off by about 25 to 30%. But let's just say that we use these numbers and you guys do this research, okay? So pretty much what you would do is you'd go down the list and say, okay, like, look, this guy has 2 reviews, he's making money. This guy has 946, making 257. This guy's making over $1 million. So the problem is what you guys aren't paying attention to is how many other sellers are actually generating income. So in this case, there are 18 people on this page. If you're doing your research, you want to make sure that multiple people are actually making sales on page 1, and also I would take a look at page 2, because if people are selling and are killing it on page 2, then you're confident that if you go into that market, you're also going to be able to dominate and take over the market. However, with that being said, if there's only a handful of people, 4 to 5 people making money, and everyone else is not making money, then that's a red flag, and that's something that you have to dissect and figure out. Is it the reason being, is it because they have low reviews? Is it because their listing is poor quality? Or is it simply because 4 to 5 people are actually dominating that market, and if you add a 6 or 7 company, it's not going to change anything, okay? So you have to pay attention to that. You have to look at how many sellers are FBA fulfilled by Amazon, or how many are fulfilled by Amazon. Okay, so this one, there's just one right now. The rest are FBA, so that's fine. So if you came across a product and most of the page was fulfilled by Amazon, so Amazon's the seller, then that's probably another red flag in regards to not wanting to compete with them, because you know that the PPC and all the costs are going to be extremely expensive to compete with them, okay? So there's a few different factors, like I said. So once you figure that out, I would run it on multiple product research tools to validate it. I would run it on Viral Launch Market Intelligence to just get a star rating and take a look at the competition. And then more importantly, guys, you would want to run this on Google Trends so that you can actually see the trend of that specific keyword for your product. And the purpose behind it is what happens if you guys are doing your research, and the research is right now showing that the top sellers are making $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 a month, but it's the top season, it's the peak season of the year, And what that tells me is once you purchase that product, by the time it arrives, the dip will actually go down, and you're actually going to now have to weigh it out, and you're not actually going to be able to make money. So the best time, guys, to get it, I'm going to show you what I'm talking about so you guys understand. The best time to actually purchase a product and start selling that product is right before it actually starts spiking. Okay, like a month to 2 months before, so you have time to prepare. You're able to actually start selling and getting everything ready so that when it spikes, you're at the top making the most money. Okay, so this is a product that shows that it's pretty stable. Okay, so obviously this would be an amazing product to sell if you're using Google Trends, because you can see it's very, very stable. But let's just say that the product started at 25 and then it went all the way up to 100 and then stayed at 100 and it peaked down and went back here. The best time to launch would be right when it's at the lowest, because you know with the trend that it's most likely going to go back up. But if you're launching at the highest peak possible, because you're doing your product research, and 2-3 months it's probably going to dip back down, and now your sales are going to dip, and that could be the big reason in regards to you picking a wrong product and making you actually quit your Amazon journey because you're not making money, you give up, and you get frustrated. Okay, so this is why I always recommend using Google Trends. Always take a look, and I would go back. You can go 12 months is perfect, but sometimes you can go up to 5 years. Take a look at 5 years and see how the trend is. So you can see the spike right here. So I'm not sure what really spiked it back here, but who knows what happened there. But as you can see, it's a pretty consistent basis. So you know that it's going to be a good product, okay? So again, what happens, this is a great example. Let's just say you're doing your research and it was at the top out of 100. You buy it, you source it, but then it goes from 100 all the way back down to 60. That's a huge jump, guys. 40% difference in regards to that, okay? So very, very important, guys, that you guys do your due diligence, you do your research so that you make sure that you're not getting the wrong product, and these are the factors. So I take a look at the product research tools, I run them on different tools. I also do the 999 method to track them to ensure that I can track that as best as I can to give me a really good estimate in regards to how many sales and what's moving. And then I will check with Google Trends, and then if everything makes sense and I see multiple sellers are making sales even on page 2, and I can take a look at PPC to make sure that the keyword is not saturated and there's a market for me, then I'll actually get into the product and move forward, okay? So for product research, that's option number 1 in regards to the issues. Number 2, guys, which is the biggest issue, is actually never pulling the trigger and purchasing the product. 70% of people that are either educating themselves with Amazon, that saw a video, that are on online chats, forums, Facebook groups, that invested in a course, whatever the case may be, 70% of them do not actually even move forward in regards to purchasing a product. Now, how in the world are you guys ever going to be able to achieve success and financial freedom if you never pull the trigger? Okay, if you don't swing the bat, well, guess what? You guys you'll never get a home run. The only way you guys are going to get a home run is if you go up to the plate and you swing that bat. Okay, so it's the same thing with this. If you never actually get a product, there's no way that you guys will ever know if it's going to work or if it's not going to work. So that's insane stats, guys. 70%. That means out of everyone watching right now, hopefully you guys are a 30%er. I believe in you guys, and I know you guys are different and you guys want more in life. So make sure that you guys find that product and that you guys take it to the next level in regards to purchasing the product from a supplier and starting on Amazon. And this is why, guys, for this exact reason, based off those stats, this exact reason why I created the hot product picks, so that I can offer this service to you guys in regards to eliminating that issue. Because if that's 70% of people don't get a product, this is why I'm going to be able to eliminate that and help you guys skip that step so that you guys can now have less barriers, so you guys can actually find that product and start sourcing it and not get stuck on product research. Okay, so very, very important, guys. Like I said, that if you find the product, do your proper product research, but more importantly, you have to pull the trigger. You need to put that hard-earned cash on the line, and that's the only way you guys are going to grow. Okay, so that's the biggest issues and biggest reasons to why you will fail is product research. Number 2, guys, is going to be launching. Okay, so in regards to launching, there's a few aspects. It's going to be properly launching your product and then having your listing optimized and creating a brand. Okay, so what I mean by launching is a lot of people think that once the product arrives at Amazon, they can just sit back, relax, and the money's going to come in. Now, that used to work back in the day, but that no longer works. You guys have to put in effort. Customers are getting smarter, Amazon's getting smarter, everything is completely changing. So you need to up your guys' launch strategy in regards to competing with your competitors. Okay, so this is where it starts with number 1, you need to have a good listing, a well-optimized listing that's well indexed, so that when someone searches for your keyword, you're going to be able to show up on Amazon. If you don't show up on Amazon when someone searches you, well, you're going to have a very hard time selling that product, okay? Number two, you want to make sure that your pictures are high-end pictures, okay? You don't want pictures from suppliers if they're not good quality. You want to retake them and have high-quality pictures that stand out, so that when people land on your listing, they see that picture, they're going to want to click that listing, and then your listing will sell them in regards to why they need the product, okay? So those are the two important things. And then the third most important thing is going to be reviews. Now, it doesn't matter how good your product is, how many great pictures you are, how well optimized it is, even if you're spot 1 ranking. If you don't have reviews, guys, it's just a matter of time till people will click your link to go view it, but they're not actually going to pull the trigger to purchase that product because there's no social proof. So if everyone in your category, has thousands of reviews, it's going to be very hard for you to compete with that. And that's why I recommend staying under 200 reviews for the start, so you guys can just launch your product properly off the bat, the first one, and then you can scale into more competitive markets. But in regards to launching, you guys have to have a launch strategy, okay? So there's multiple ways, guys. You guys can do what I taught you in regards to building up a ManyChat subscriber list, so that when your product arrives, you blast everyone to get them to purchase your product, and then you spike the algorithms. You can go to Viral Launch, ZonJump. There's different platforms in regards to launching your product to get you onto page 1. And you need to do that, and the time you need to do that really comes down to two different things. Not every product, guys, will need to do a launch. And what do I mean by that is, if you're launching a product that is not competitive, it still has a lot of sales but not that many sellers, then you probably won't have to do a giveaway. And that's where the PPC trick with the saturation market, you can double check, because that gives you a really good indicator on how popular and saturated the market is, okay? So if your product, if you go, like, here's an example. You go to Amazon right here, and look at this. I type in fish oil. There's over 3,000 people I'm competing with. Okay, that's a lot. That's 3,000 products that have this keyword inside their listing. So now for me to get to the top, I have to compete with 3,000 different listings, okay? So I like finding products typically under 1,000. Those are really good products if you can find under 1,000. Again, this is not always the case, because I've launched products that had over 40,000 searches and was able to rank really, really fast. But again, it really depends. It just makes it easier, obviously, if there's less sellers competing for that keyword, okay? So that's option 1. So if you don't need to launch, then all you really need to do is have an amazing listing, great pictures, get some reviews, and then just really invest in PPC. Just go heavily into PPC, and you will be able to rank for keywords, and you won't need to do a launch. Now, the other side of the coin is, if you're launching a product that's super competitive and there's a lot of sellers, and most sellers are doing 50 to 80 sales per day, there's no way that you guys will be able to get to the top without using a launch service and spiking the algorithms to make it look like you guys are a big company, okay? So this is why it's very, very important, guys, that you do use a launch service, but do not use a launch service until you guys have reviews in place. And in reviews, I'm not saying if everyone in your category has 300, well, 10 reviews is not going to help you guys out. You're going to get to the top, but you're slowly going to go right back down. So you have to match roughly the estimated reviews, in that category, so you can compete and stay at the top, so you can show Amazon that you're relevant for that keyword, and that all comes down to conversions. How many people click it and then end up buying your products, okay? If a bunch of people click it and no one purchases it, then you have a very low conversion rate, and Amazon will not rank you anymore for that keyword, okay? So very, very important, guys. As I'm making this video, there's a new launch service that's coming out through Seller Tools. I will be covering that and creating a new video about that very soon once I have some data and test it out. But apparently they're able to rank any keywords using a launch in 1 day. They're able to just you launch your products in 1 day, and you're able to actually rank within 4 to 5 days for the very competitive keywords, okay? So they've been testing this out for a long time, and now they're releasing it to the public. So I will also test it out and give you guys some feedback, but that's another launch option that you guys can do. But again, you want to make sure your listings optimize, great pictures, and good reviews, okay? And then the last biggest mistake that's actually preventing someone from to fail is that is making someone fail, is in regards to scaling and reinvesting your profits back into the business. Now, way too many people think that, hey, I'm making $3,000 a month, I can quit my job, I can live off this, and they don't really think long term. And the problem with that is, this Amazon business, most of your cash flow, or your cash, is going to be tied up with inventory, okay? So all those guys that you see, making 200 grand, 300 grand, $1 million a month, that is not profits, number one. That's going to be total revenue. Now, from that revenue, there's obviously a profit margin, maybe 30-40%. But from that 30-40%, most of the cash, guys, I'm telling you, most of that is going right back into the business to reinvest and purchase a second bigger order so that they can now make more money, because the more you order, the cheaper the product becomes. And then they're also looking at investing into new products so they can grow their brand. And those are the people that are going to be able to create a multi-million-dollar business and eventually scale it so that you guys can sell it, okay? So that is very, very important, guys, and it's a step that way too many sellers skip out, and they just end up quitting and not working out. And this is why, guys, again, here's another stat for you guys. This is why out of the 30%, so remember right here I said 70% of people don't start, they never purchase a product. So from those 30% of people that do purchase the product and move forward, only 10% will still be doing Amazon after a year. Now just think about that. That's 90% of people out of those 30% that won't even be around anymore. So there's only 10% of people that will stick around, and the reasoning is because of that. Either their account gets suspended, they launched the wrong product, they launched a product that's too competitive, that's not competitive enough, that they got their account suspended because they did something, or new competition came in. There's lots of different reasons in regards to that. But another reason is not scaling and building the business properly. It's taking out profits too quick and not reinvesting it in the business and sustaining the business. This business is like your guys' baby. You guys have to feed it, you have to take care of it, you have to grow it, and the more you take care of it, the more you give back to it, the more in the future it's going to take care of you guys. So it's very, very important, guys, that once you start making money, reinvest it in regards to placing a second order, and then start looking at your second product. And just rinse and repeat. And you're probably asking, when should I start taking money out? When can I start living this? Steven, I started this so that I can become financially free. I want to be rich. 100%, guys, but you need to do this properly. You don't want to take out money too quick, and then next thing you know, you lose your business. You end up like those 98% people, and now you're back to square one trying to find the next solution, the next business opportunity, okay? So I recommend at least 6 months minimum, but I really just push for 12 months. Do not touch money from your account first. 6 to 12 months, guys. Don't live off of it. Just take that money, reinvest it, reinvest it, reinvest it. And once you're successful and you're growing your portfolio, then you can actually take a look at start taking money out and just switching it to cover your guys' bill, your expenses, and then you'll have just more time to focus on your business. But if you're able to stay at a job and just keep making money, just knowing that this is not how it's always going to be, knowing that you have a plan B and you're working on it every single night, and you don't touch the money, and you reinvest and you keep doing product research and finding product, then it's just a matter of time, guys, until you're able to just become financially free and change that your life. Okay, so this is why these are the 3 biggest reasons. Like I said, if you guys want to take a look at the stats, you can go to this website, Marketplace Pulse. As you guys can see, this is crazy. There's over 535,000 new sellers on the Amazon Marketplace so far this year that just joined. Okay, so if you remember that number, I said only 10% of these people will stick around. So if you do the math, guys, that's around 53,000 people that are going to be left, that are actually going to be selling, and that's 480-ish, 480,000 people that are going to quit. So it's good news for some of us and it's bad news for others. Good news, why? Because obviously that means there's less competition. A lot of people are quitting, and this is what you want to do. You want to differentiate yourself so that you guys can compete with them and not have to do anything in regards to hurting your guys' business. Okay, so definitely think of a long-term business. Make sure you guys avoid these 3 mistakes. Doing proper product research. You can eliminate that, guys, simply by using the 3 hot product picks. Not launching your product correctly. That comes down to hiring someone to do your listing and your optimization and your pictures. So those are the 3 biggest things. And then getting a handful of reviews by doing ManyChat. And then you can launch to the ManyChat or using a launch service. So those 2 problems are eliminated. And then not scaling, that comes down to self-responsibility. Once you start making money, just reinvest it back into the business and watch it grow for you. Okay, so hopefully this made sense, guys, and I'll see you guys in the next video.